What if I told you this game was destined to fail before it was even released? How, you ask? First, let's go back in time when horror movies were at an all-time high, the 1980s. We had the likes of Scream, Hellraiser, Halloween 2, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and lastly, Friday the 13th. It was really a time where small-budgeted movies made some of the most terrifying and recognizable characters in all of cinema. I know right now in the comment section, all the movies I listed off, 90% of you would know who those iconic characters are. That's why they're still making modern-day reboots and spin-offs 42 years later. So of course, it makes sense to have a video game spin-off. Prompted by the success of John Carpenter's Halloween in 1978, two men had a vision of their own. With the brilliant mind of Victor Miller and the imagination of the direction of Sean Cunningham, our iconic killer was born. Remember these names for later. On an estimated budget of $550,000, the movie grossed $59.8 million worldwide. Not bad for a plot about counselors getting murdered at a lake. Now, what we are all here for, the game. 37 years have passed since the iconic first movie dropped. That sprouted sequels and video game spin-offs. In my opinion, similar to the movie, prompted by the popular growing asymmetrical survival horror game genre, such as Dead by Daylight, Sean S. Cunningham was in talks about an upcoming game based on the Friday the 13th with Gun Media. During the same time, IllFonic were also in talks of making their own game with Gun, titled Slasher Volume 1. After meeting for over months, Sean surprised Gun Media and IllFonic by offering the Friday the 13th video game license. So Cunningham being the bread and IllFonic and Gun Media being the peanut butter and jelly, they started a funding goal. The team did. The game reached its funding goal on Kickstarter with 3 days left to spare, simmering around $723,000 at the time of going to the press. The licensed horror title was now in full swing. Things were looking promising. The game was a fun success. It was a breath of fresh air for the asymmetrical survival horror game genre. It was looking to be a well-loved, promising game. It was the iconic character, the iconic setting. It was the perfect recipe. But sadly, there was something Gun Media and IllFonic didn't expect. Gun Media announced on June 11, 2018 that they had to cancel the future content updates, including DLC for the game, because of its legal dispute between Cunningham and Victor Miller over the rights about the lawsuit and the ownership of the original film. Miller claimed he was the rightful owner of Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th. It was a messy lawsuit, but in September 2021, that indeed Miller did write the film as an independent contractor and was therefore able to retain the rights for Friday the 13th franchise. My final thoughts on this whole story. Sadly, a lawsuit was the nail in the coffin for Friday the 13th the game. Could this game, in a different situation, being a fan favourite and played like Dead by Daylight today? Who knows?